The man scattered a large amount of cash, and people below began scrambling for it. He did this to cover for his brother across the building, who was about to carry out a robbery. John and his partner reached the designated spot they had prepped. After setting up the wiring, they dragged in steel plates to join the seams, then secured them in place. They inserted the prepared bomb and finally covered it with a mattress. Once everything was ready, they waited for Nick to make his move. The screams drowned out the explosion. Nick asked Leah for a cigarette. Leah lit the last one and handed it to Nick, telling him to leave half for her. But when Leah got the remaining half, she passed it to their colleagues inside the room to collect fingerprints from the cigarette butt.
Nice work.
Meanwhile, John and his partner made their way through the hole created by the explosion and into the ventilation shaft. They then entered the diamond vault through the elevator shaft. John laid on a skateboard, covering himself with cloth that matched the floor's color. The security was distracted, watching the news about Nick jumping from the building, unaware that someone had slipped past and was now in the surveillance blind spot. John took a photo of the surveillance view, printed it, and pasted it on a model to fool the cameras. However, things didn't stay smooth for long. A new sensor had been installed in the hallway. John asked Nick for help, but the negotiation expert standing next to Nick was unable to directly respond. Instead, he conveyed it to them through Leah.
Listen, this thing that we got here, I think we should cool it down before you get into trouble.
It turned out to be a heat sensor, and all they needed to do was lower the temperature. They brought in a fire extinguisher, spraying as they moved forward until the sensor froze completely. Finally, they reached the vault door and pulled out their tools, preparing to enter through the nearby vent. At that moment, the police identified Nick through the fingerprints. It turns out that Nick was the cop who had been arrested years ago for stealing diamonds and had only escaped prison the previous day. Coincidentally, they were in the same hotel as Harris, the diamond's owner, whose diamond trading company was just across the street. The sheriff immediately contacted the head of security, instructing them to check the vault. Realizing Nick's earlier words, Leah finally understood that Nick didn't actually intend to jump. She went to the window to confront him, and only then did Nick reveal the truth. Several years ago, Nick had been tasked with escorting diamonds, but two masked men had stolen them on the way, leading to his wrongful imprisonment. Everything had been orchestrated by Harris, the owner of the diamonds. Harris's company was facing bankruptcy at the time, so he devised a plan to steal his own diamonds and claim a huge insurance payout. The diamonds were still with Harris, and everything Nick had done that day was to find them and prove his innocence. He begged Leah for her help, as investigations revealed that the two masked men were from the police force. Therefore, this place was the safest for him.
If you are lying to me about any of this, I'm gonna push you off myself.